Hi there. We're going to talk about panic attacks and anxiety. You should know that you are not the body, you are the soul. You control the body and the body is your abode in this physical reality. This is a physical reality where your soul, that is the actual you, is experiencing a physical existence which is a projection of whatever your soul is capable of. Keep in mind that you cannot impose your will upon other human beings because they have their own free will. You can only impose your will upon yourself and learn to control your own bodily functions and also your own circumstances. Also know that you can prevent yourself from being affected by the ill will of others because you have your own free will. So, how do we address anxiety and panic attacks? Well, there is a hormone called cortisol. A hormone is a synthetic substance carried by tissue fluids, and they stimulate specific cells or tissues into action. Cortisol is a stress hormone. When the levels of cortisol increase in your body, you start to feel anxious. The higher the cortisol levels, the more the anxiety. Normal levels of cortisol are important for a stable immune function, stable blood pressure, and stable sugar levels in your blood. So what happens when the cortisol level rises? I will not go into the details of cortisol, but a hawk's eye view of the situation would be that a higher level of this hormone can punch holes into your gut, increase your blood pressure, inversely affect your memory by shrinking a part of your brain, and also increase your risk of a heart attack. Higher levels of cortisol lead to panic attacks. So are there any hormones for happiness, you might ask? Yes, there are. When you eat something sweet like chocolate, it triggers the release of endorphins, also called the happiness hormones. These are the hormones that make you feel good. Remember when I said you were not the body, you are the soul, and you can learn to control your own bodily functions. You can prevent your body from secreting higher levels of cortisol to control your anxiety and panic attacks. You as the soul should know that your brain is also not the ultimate you. You are supposed to control your brain, and your brain is not supposed to control you. You existed long before you projected into this physical reality and evolved as the physical body that you see today. You will exist even after this physical body does not exist anymore. So you are not the physical body. Consider your body to be an ever-evolving artificial intelligence robot, but a much superior one to the one that humans have created in labs. Remember when I said eating something sweet can help tackle with your anxiety? Well, what chocolate will do for your body, you can also do without chocolate. Your brain can not tell the difference between the truth and a lie. Whatever you tell your brain, it perceives it as the truth. When your brain starts to think negative thoughts, which it might catch from the environment which you cannot control, you can interrupt your brain with your spoken words to stop the negative effect of those thoughts onto your physical experience. I know this can be hard, but all it needs is a little practice. So speak to your brain. Remember, you are the soul. You are supposed to be in control and oversee your bodily functions. You can control the thoughts that go through your brain. Make sure your brain does not think of any thoughts that will trigger the release of the stress hormone in higher levels, unless you are chased by a tiger or something similar, for which you do need this fight and flight hormone. Each cell in your body is already intelligent enough to know what to do, but you can control it by controlling your brain and not letting your brain control you. The next time you feel anxious, just shut your eyes and visualize yourself rising above your physical body and know that you are not the body, you are the soul, and you are in control of your body. Tell yourself that you have everything in control. All you have to do is to lower the levels of cortisol in order to get back to being normal. For achieving that, all you have to do is to snap out of that situation and be present in the moment, and take control of your bodily functions by taking control of your brain, and say to yourself all the good things that you need to hear at that moment, which will trigger the secretion of the happiness hormones. Trust me on this one. You do not need any medication once you get good at this. For now, as you practice this, try eating foods that lower your cortisol levels, walk or exercise more. When I start to feel anxious, I separate myself from my body and I tell my brain that everything is perfect and the situation is under control. When someone criticizes me, tries to belittle me, blame me or hurt me, I do not give in to the will of the other person. I do not let my bodily functions fall a prey to the ill will of the other person. I step in and I take control of my brain. I tell my brain that I know who I am. I know my potential. I know my purpose. I know what's in my heart. And I know how kind I am. And I know how many people I've been there for in my life. I also say to my brain that this person who just said something negative to me or about me is a very good person in his or her heart and does not wish me any ill. Keep in mind that it does not really matter how the other person is in real, but what matters is how your brain perceives that person in order for you to be well. This prevents the secretion of the stress hormones in higher levels in the body, and the bodily functions are stabilized and in your control. Sometimes there are wonderful people around us, but we do not have any goodwill in our hearts for them. We judge them or we hate them, and as a result of that ill will which we hold in our hearts and minds for someone, we are doing a lot of harm to ourselves. So the ill will in someone else's heart for me should not affect me unless I allow it to affect me by reacting to it or worrying about it. The one who holds a grudge against someone in his or her heart is the one who suffers. Do listen to this whole video again to know how the person who holds ill will in his or her heart for you is inversely affecting his or her own bodily functions. Keep in mind that the higher levels of cortisol also shrink a part of your brain known as the hippocampus and affects its proper functioning. This part of your brain is associated with particularly the long-term memory and your emotions. If at the moment you have not yet mastered the skill of not letting the ill will of others get to you, then walk away from potentially harmful people. Love yourself enough to walk away from whoever or whatever harms your stable physical and emotional functioning. You are here in this world to experience a beautiful physical reality. You are not here to indulge in wars, and you are not here to hate others or be hated. This physical experience is very short, so make the best of it. So how do we beat anxiety? Well, lower your stress hormone levels. And how do you do that? All you have to do is to be happy. Just be happy. You have to master the art of communicating with your body and controlling your bodily functions, which also include the levels of these hormones. So, does eating chocolate help? Well, if you are a beginner, you can eat chocolate, but you can also get the same effect by simply speaking to your brain. The moment you get a thought that can harm your well-being and can trigger the secretion of cortisol, interrupt that thought by speaking to your brain. Say something nice to yourself. Tell yourself that everything is perfect. You are not alone. That will trigger the secretion of endorphins. Well, that is all for now, and I will see you in the next video.